Good morning, everybody. What's up? I know it's quite early. I'm on my way to the gym. Big shout outs to the African Superstar family. Big shout outs to the customers of the AfricanSuperstar.com. Please make sure you head over to the website, check out our new swim collection. That is www.theafricansuperstar.com. It's also scrolling across your screen. So please head over. I want to talk about this topic. This is kind of a spinoff of the live stream that I did last night, which is African migrants will learn about the West the hard way. Um, I'm a wise person, so I believe in kind of assessing other people's outcomes and other people's circumstances, kind of as a guideline as to potential outcomes that can affect me. I find that, living here in Ghana and both my experiences in the UK and my experiences in America is that the African migrant is going to learn the hard way, the cost of being in the West. We say here in Ghana, you don't think far. It's a very common expression that means that you're not thinking ahead, you're not thinking forward. And unfortunately, our people have that mentality. It's very, very obvious that they have that mentality. Instead of critically thinking and instead of looking at dynamics and, calculating outcomes and things like that, they rather be stubborn and pretend things are not happening, pretend things don't pertain to them, pretend they are of some kind of subsect, and so on and so forth. So just simply, I say, they're going to learn the hard way. There are reasons why the diaspora is heading this movement back to the continent. The diaspora has been living in the West for centuries. Okay. The diaspora understands and knows what they're talking about when they are pursuing and promoting the continent. When we actually look here in this YouTube space, you see that diasporans are the ones that are spearheading this social media about heading to the continent. While many of our African brothers and sisters in the diaspora are sitting comfortably in the West. The thing about the West is it is a cyclical situation. You might enjoy your own personal life, so for the migrant, let me address you specifically. So you yourself have moved to the UK, Germany, America, okay? And you have experienced a change in your quality of life. I live here in Ghana, so I understand how some people are living here. I understand some people are, they're struggling and some of the dynamics of the political situation and so on and so forth. Okay. So you as an individual, you move to the West, for school, you move there to work, whatever, so be it. Your kids are going to be the ones that start getting impacted by the West. Now, in your perspective, you're raising them there. So they have access to everything that's there. Okay. You went through maybe a cumbersome process to get your citizenship in the West and travel abroad. It was expensive. It was difficult. So you're thinking to yourself, okay, these kids, they're born and raised in the UK. They're born and raised in America. They've got the passport. They've got front hand access. But what you don't know is it's going to cost you so much more than you know. A lot of the things that make you successful in life have to do with your upbringing, your exposure, the fact that you grew up in, majority Black countries. You had cultures, you had morals, you had access to your family. When you choose to bring and bred, your children in these foreign lands, they're not having access to all of those, all those elements. And it begins at that cycle. Okay, the sense of belonging. Okay, I think it's very rare that an African person born here on the continent sits down and asks themselves, who am I? Where do I belong? They have a lot of things in their environment which help them understand who they are and where they belong. They have a community, they have a family. that helps teach them who they are and where they belong. Those in the West begin that soul searching right then and there. And from there, it's a downhill slope. You know, eventually you get to the point where Blacks are so confused about who they are that they begin to identify as other things. You know, we see all these elements happening in the West. It is naive to sit out there and not think that these things are going to impact you. It is naive. It is ignorant to discount the concerns and the woes of the diasporan people that are trying to address you. It is ignorant because we know better than anybody what the cost, what the associated cost of being there is all about. That's why we're ready to move and uproot and position ourselves here on the continent, because the cost is high. Okay, that's part of the marketing scheme. That's part of the consumption of being in the West. It gives you that hope that you're going to have a better life. And because we just see what's in front of our face, you know, we see the temporal pleasures, you know, because I understand, you know, my family is migrants too. I understand how, you know, temporarily it looks great, you know, but then as you watch your kids suffer, you know, some of you guys, African migrants, for instance, you know, you have young Black daughters, nieces, family members. You watch them struggle to get married, you know, have families. You look at them, you think, wow, you're accomplished, you know, you're attractive, you're educated. They are being impacted by the dynamics of that environment. You know, you look at maybe how your life went at that same age and compare it to, you know, your Western counterpart, and you're already starting to see it have an impact. You know, the young Black men. A friend of mine actually posted on Facebook a couple days ago a school picture from her son's graduation from I believe it was middle school. And it was a really cute picture of, you know, probably about 10, 15 African boys. They were all dressed up in their traditional wear. And, you know, she made the comment that if these kids were in America, they will already be totally thugged out. By the time that they were 10 years old, they will already start, you know, exhibiting a lot of those signs. We look at the young people, a lot of them, that's when the disciplinary problems start. Some of you guys, maybe your kids, that's when they started rebelling. You know, when they were in their teenage years, that's when they started hanging out and smoking weed and getting mixed up with the wrong individuals. It's all conducive of the environment, guys. It's all conducive of the environment. You know, for African migrants who are raising children in America, you're not curious as to why they don't identify with their Blackness, why they're not curious about Africa, why they don't want to be associated. You don't wonder why? Well, it's their environment that's teaching them this. And the unfortunate thing is you have people either in your midst or you have access to them here on social media trying to explain to you what is going on. You know, and also therefore demonstrating the moves that we should take to further position ourselves. You see, what is going to happen in your family lines has already happened to us. And so we are trying to advise the way forward. You know, I would say that if I was in an environment, but see, I'm not ordinary. I'm very smart. See, maybe ordinary people wouldn't pay attention. But you see, if I was in an environment and I began to see that people that had been there for a long time, or people that had, you know, they were giving me, you know, certain information about that place, I would take heed of it. Because I would think, wow, this person knows, you know, has more experience, has more exposure than me. But unfortunately, you know, we get blown off a lot when we try to communicate what it is. You know, it's kind of like when you start a new job. You go to your new job and they got you in a training class, they got you in the boardroom, you introduce, shake hands with all the executives. First thing you want to do is find another Black in your area. If you're living in the West, you want to see another Black person. You want to ask them about the culture. You want to ask them about the paychecks. You want to ask them about the bosses and how they roll. If you can be a couple minutes late back from break and all that. So I'm sending this caution out. I know many African migrants that are in the international community, and to me, it's very sad because I know what's coming. I know what's coming. I've already observed it, and that's why I've decided there's no place like home. When the Black man or woman accepts that, they will be better off. There is no place like home. If you don't reverence your homeland, if you don't have an interest or a connection to your homeland, you will always struggle. You will always be a foreigner. You will always be at odds. And our people have always been in those circumstances in the West. African migrants go to the West and they see Black Americans in a certain situation. They see the Caribbean people in the UK in a certain situation, or the Black British people, and they don't make the correlations. Don't you know that their families too was like you? Because those aren't our homelands, which means if we got there somehow, some way, we got transported there because that's not our homeland. I'm willing to get down to the root of it and attack the problems at the root. Let's go back home. Let's sort out some of the problems here. Let's use our energy at home. Well, Gina, I'm born in America. I don't know anybody in Africa. I don't know any. Okay, then reestablish the roots. Get to know, get to find out. That way, the next generation won't have your same sorry story of I don't know who I am and I don't know where I belong. And the paradox of living in the West, where you're born and raised there, culturally you identify, but you're not accepted in society. That's the reality of Blacks in America, in Blacks in the UK, Blacks in Germany. That's how it is. Those are not our homelands. That's just what it is. So I would like to hope that some of my peers are, wise enough to understand. Or for the things that they don't understand, they're willing to learn. They're willing to be exposed, because nothing in life is free. There's always a cost. If your enemy invites you into their home, you've got to know that your enemy is always going to win. The house always wins. They're not inviting you to the West because it's for your best. They're not promoting interracial relationships because it's for your family. They're not promoting homosexuality because it's great for your lineage. Everything that they promote to you is to the destruction of you and your own people. That is it, period. Why? Because the house always wins. They always want to be on top. They always want to be the one to capitalize. When you leave your homeland, you then become, you are then at a huge disadvantage, because you go from a majority setting to a minority setting. You already start becoming vulnerable to certain things happening to you. You see? And guess what? Some African communities in the West believe that, oh, you know what? Black Americans are bringing this stuff on themselves. Right? Well, let me inform you. When you go ahead and born picking, okay, you have some kids in the West. Guess what those kids are seen as? Black Americans. Guess what? You might have a heavy accent. Okay, you might have an identifiable African name. So people can see you and they think, oh, this is a foreigner. Guess what your kid is going to be like? Guess how they're going to sound? Guess what they look like and how they dress and all that stuff. You are endangering your family lines by remaining in those environments. Take it from me. Let me be the first and foremost to tell you, you are endangering your family lines by remaining in those environments. If you come to those environments, it's best for you to get the resources and get the hell out. Learn from other foreign groups. Other foreign groups go to the West and they don't integrate. Other foreign groups go to the West and get the money and send it back home. Other foreign groups in the West prioritize their culture over Western culture. We as Africans are the only ones who are willing to adapt some other man's language, culture, style, belief systems as our own and prioritize it over our own. Trust me, the plight of the Black American, the plight of the Black British is the plight for all African migrants in the West, period. If you're smart, you're going to take pointers from diasporans. You're going to observe their circumstances. You will learn from the situation that we are in. Another critical error that the African migrant doesn't realize is you have no footing in the West. Okay? Here on the continent, you have families, you have culture, you have language, you own lands. In the West, the average Black American has nothing. Okay? Even that mortgage that they have, in the grand scheme, they won't be able to retain that. That's why very few African American families have generational wealth. All these things are staring you in the face right now. You are the future of what is already taking place to Black people in the environments and where you are in. So you have two options, guys. What's up, family? I'm going to do shout outs in a minute, so leave me something in the chat room if you so choose. You can learn from others. Like I started this message with, I consider myself wise. I'm a wise person because I look at outcomes of many different people. Okay. When I saw, Trayvon Martin get killed and Sandra Bland get killed and Tamir Rice get killed, I understood that those were potential outcomes for me because of the environment that I was in. Okay. When I faced systematic racism in several countries, I realized that, hey, these are circumstances that can affect me. And all these things that can potentially affect me can also potentially affect my kids. You want to live in a bubble and think that you're safe, and you're not safe. And let's just say, because quite frankly, the majority of the diaspora that's interested here on the continent, they are not African migrants. You can just see when you're here, a lot of the people that are returnees, a lot of people promoting it on social media, they are not African migrants. African migrants are choosing to reside in the West. They're still wanting to stay there. So guess what? As American-born diasporans and British-born diasporans, as we start exiting the West, guess who's going to become the new permanent underclass? You guys. Do you think them Ku Klux Klan people are going to differentiate between African migrants and Black Americans? No, they're not. Do you think police brutality is going to differentiate? No, they're not. They will lash out on Black people as a whole because they have an issue with Black people as a whole. We segment ourselves. They do not. White people will actually probably be, quite intrigued to know how deep, colorism works and, the different ethnicity groups. And because to them, a Black is a Black. Certainly, they group us in all together anyway. Africans can definitely attest to this. If you meet a white person, and especially in America, I'd say those in England, they travel a bit more, so they know a bit more about geography. But in America, you can easily talk to an American and say, hey, I'm from Ghana. And they're going to be like, oh, I got a friend in South Africa. And you're thinking to yourself, that has nothing to do with me. That's a far different country from where I'm at. You see, it all backs up my statement of they group us in. They think we're all the same, guys. How we ourselves don't want to accept the fact that we are all the same, or we are seen as all the same, is beyond me, because the rest of the world is already aware of this phenomenon. Big shout out to African Superstar family. I'm going to do the shout outs now. Please make sure you like the stream if you're here. This is going to be a short live. Okay. So don't you guys start with trying to extend it. It's early and I need to go to the gym. See? Whoa. Y'all like my muscles? I'm ready to. Blockavelli. What's up? What's up? Kamisha Ross Corner is in the building. Hi, sweetie. Good to see you. Good morning. She says the Western education and conditioning has done well in sowing the seed of mistrust within ourselves in all things African. Very, very true. Afro Millennial Mama in sunny Senegal. Good morning to you. How are you doing? Black Beauty always. What's up? Deja, I see you there, sweetheart. Blackavelli says, I know it's the second generation African migrants who suffer the Western condition. Absolutely. And that's my story. You know, that's my story. You know, a lot of the experiences I had growing up in America, my parents couldn't relate to. You know, I remember telling my mom about racism and how, you know, I went to predominantly white private schools. So, you know, I started having those experiences and sharing them. Why? Guys, sorry, I'm having some technical. Really? Sorry about that, guys. Froze up there for a second. Blockavelli, I see you with that super chat, brother. Thank you so much. So basically, I was saying, you know, I started trying to express to my mom some of the things I was going through, and she didn't identify. You know, she couldn't identify with going to a school, you know, where you're a minority, you know, kind of going through bullying. And the biggest complaint that I had, the biggest, you know, issue that I had was they were constantly trying to minimalize my, you know, successes. You know, like I've told you guys, I was an avid reader when I was young. I'm a natural born speaker. I'm very articulate. And they were always minimalizing that. Oh, Gina, you're so funny. And Gina, you're so crazy. And Gina, you're so fun. And I'm thinking, like, I'm so serious. Like, what are you talking about? You know, always just trying to pacify me. And I hated it. And I would tell my mom about it. And, you know, she just would be like, oh, well, you know, the classic advices that we get as Black people, basically, you know, grin and bear it. Well, it's okay. Well, that's kids. And, you know, not telling us what it is. And there's that disconnect. You know, many African or migrant parents, there's a huge disconnect with their child being raised in the West. You know, and this is a real problem. You know, this is a real problem. And this has to do with, like Blockavelli said, that second generation. You know, you're thinking, I put my child in a better position. You know, now they live in the West. You know, I would have killed to grow up in the West, to have access to this and that and this and that. No, really, we suffer. We're away from our family. We're away from our culture. You know, we live in a minority setting. Okay, community. You know, we suffer. We're not seen as indigenous to the foreign lands where we're born. So there's a huge complexity that goes on. And I want to promote us to stop making our kids go through unnecessary strife. You know, if you live here on the continent, or if you've been here on the continent, you can attest to the happy, you know, carefree African children. Please let me see a number one. If you have observed the children here on the continent, they are lovely, they are friendly, they are happy, they smile, they are just without a care. Black children in the West don't grow up like that. You know, they already have the burden of the world on their shoulders. And it's unfair for us to keep doing this deliberately to our kids when we have alternative options. Big shout outs to Blockavelli with that. Superstar Bella, what's up, girl? Good to see you. Bella says Western culture is massive and it conditions the mind very quick. Absolutely. There's people that have actually migrated from wherever they've migrated from, and they've begun to believe the American perspective on the world, even their own homeland. There are some people that are afraid to return to their homeland because they have begun to ingest this Western view on it. This definitely backs up my point. Kamisha Ross Corner said, Dorothy said it best, there's no place like home. Black people have got to understand. Okay? And just because you persist to be in a location, that doesn't make it your home. Huh? Let me say it again. Just because you persist to be in a location, that doesn't make it your home. So let me say that I just decide that I'm going over Deja's house. All right? I'm like, you know what, Deja, you got this luxury couch made in Ghana. You got these, you know, nice fluffy pillows. I'm not leaving. I'm here to stay. Pull up and just be there. I'm not leaving. This is my house. Guess what? Deja, you know, certainly in the West, Deja can call the police and say, hey, look, there's an intruder in my property. I tried to get him out. Or matter of fact, even if you live in a property and you stop paying your rent, you stop paying your mortgage, guess what they do? They evict you. They take you out. Persisting to be in somebody else's house does not make it your own. Huh? Just because we've made these subcultures. Okay, so you got the Black British, and you got the, you know, the Black Caribbean community, you got the Black Americans, the Black Europeans, and all this stuff. Guys, it's not your home. You are simply occupying space. Big shout outs to the family with the super chats. We are monetized again. Yes, Z1. Thank you. For you and Blockavelli are some of the first super chats again on the channel. And I appreciate the 5 on it. So don't y'all be tight walleted. Go ahead and cash me out with that tithes and offering, because I'm back. It's important for me to spread this message. A lot of African migrants don't consider what their kids are going through. And trust me, the fate, you know, the very things that you are observing in your Western environments that you don't like, okay, regarding Black people, okay? You don't like how the Black Americans do. You don't like how the Jamaicans in England do. You don't like this. You don't like that. You don't like how the Black Europeans don't associate themselves with Africa. Huh? You don't like how disconnected the Black Americans are with Africa. All that stuff, see it in your future. Your own kids. What's that story in the Bible about denying one of the disciples? You're going to deny me 3 times? Huh? What's that story? Y'all know the story. I can't remember that story. It's not one of my favorites. But basically, I think it's Peter. Jesus tells Peter, hey, you're going to deny me 3 times by, you know, a certain amount of time. Peter said, no, not me. Not me. I'm down. Trust me, the things I'm telling you. You know, that's why it's better to start redepositing ourselves here on the continent. Okay? Because we see what has become of, you know, with extended exposure to the West, we see what has begun to happen to our people, right? Okay, you know, I know, for instance, when I was growing up in America in the 90s and stuff like that, there were some things that would go on and we immediately would know. You know, we would hear these kind of stories on the radio, or we would hear news stories, and we would immediately know, because of, for instance, the nature of the crime, that it was not a Black person that committed the crime. Okay, because we knew that, you know, white people, a lot of the mental illness and stuff, a lot of that was heavily in their community. A lot of the perverted kind of crimes, pedophilia, a lot of the extreme kind of murders and perverted kind of behavior, that wasn't a part of our community. That was their community. So we could hear, but see, what has happened now is it has begun to blend. Okay? Because of the consumption of that environment, now Black people in that environment are displaying and exhibiting the same unstable behaviors as their non-Black peers because of the exposure there. You see, just like when you sew, okay, you take the needle, you go into the fabric, you come out, there's a loop, and you do what? You come back in, okay? And you keep sewing around and around and around until that stitch is very tight knit. What's happening is when we loop out, instead of looping back in, we just keep on looping. We make a big ass circle until it's just so stupid and dramatic. If you have looped out for some reason, loop back in. Come home. Reestablish yourself. If you went out there to get the capital, that's cool. You went out there to go to school, that's fine. Loop back in. Loop back in. Because if you don't, you have countless examples of what your future is like. What the future of your family lines is going to be like. Big shout outs. What's up? What's up? What's up? Bella, this is a good point. She said it's weird how people leave their whole country. And it's sick, actually, if you think about it. The concept that you're going to have a better life outside of your own home, your familiarity, your language, your blah, 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 is really crazy because you have a lot of advantages at home. Okay, you don't realize it until you leave a lot of times. Some of you guys didn't realize all the advantages. You didn't realize all the stuff you love, all the stuff you miss until you were no more there. But that's just the truth. You begin to alienate yourself from your safety net and familiarity. Now, you do have people like refugees, and you have people like me who is returning back to the roots. See, I've been estranged. I'm second generation, so I spent my whole life abroad. Okay, but I'm bringing the needle back into the fabric. To prevent future generations from being in the situation that I faced. What's up, Isesa? I see you there. What's up? What's up, Lady Visionaries in the building? Thank you so much. Big shout outs to the family. Souls of Our Ancestors is with us. She said, I think many African Americans have forgotten how we got here in the first place, let alone our ancestors did not want to be in America. And that's the facts. That's the facts. And we can't, like I said, I've posted up in Deja's house. I'm chilling. I'm like, you know what? Bring me something to drink, Deja. I'm not leaving. This is my house. Okay? It's not my house. No matter how much I love it. I can give Deja all my super chats. I could be like, you know what, Deja, look, today I made $10 in super chats. I'm going to give you $8 out of my super chats. It doesn't make it my house. Deja going to take my money and still evict me. And that's what's happening to Blacks. We're in situations where we live in the West and we don't have anything and they still disrespect us. They say, you know what? I'm going to take Souls of Our Ancestors. I'm about to take her money. I'm taking Blackavelli's money and he can't get nothing from me. No safety, no protection, no respect. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to try to corrupt his kids. I want his son to be a homosexual. That's going to be the end of his family lines. You see? So the sad reality of what I'm talking about today is that African migrants are going to learn the hard way. Now, they don't have to. They don't have to. What's up, Afro Pride, KB? I'm sorry, KB. See, the thing is, I'm about to go to the gym. So when I do live streams during the day, I do them before gym. So sorry. But maybe you can catch the evening one, okay? What's up, Sydney? Big shout outs to the African superstar family. S.A. Smith says, I believe other foreigners have better protection from their homelands if something happens to them in the West. Well, that's true as well. I mean, we can see anytime people want to like act bad between, to the Asian community or whatever, there's a tremendous outpouring, whatever. Well, I think we've all heard this from a Nigerian, souls of our ancestors. But in defense of our Nigerian brothers and sisters, I can't really, but in defense, what is happening in their country is really, really chaotic. I never really understood Nigerians well until I traveled there. And when I traveled there, I experienced some of the conditions and some of the stresses that, they go through. And because their country is not stable, that has a lot to do with the perspective as well. When you have stable African nations and you see Africans that are frequently traveling back and doing business, that's an indication that they have interest in their homeland or they're confident in the safety. In Nigeria's case, I mean, which we recently saw from like the NSARS, police brutality and stuff like that, it's not as stable. I can't justify the Nigerians for having that perspective, but I think that contributes a lot to why they're not interested in Nigeria, because Nigeria is not stable. But herein lies the point that I'm saying. Okay? We cannot be refugees forever. Okay? Nor should we want to be. Our goal should be to create the dynamics that we want at home to prevent people from migrating out. Do you guys realize that in many African countries, there's a lot of African countries that you have never met people from? In America, for instance. I know when I lived in America, I never met any South Africans. Okay? I only actually met South Africans when I moved to the UK. Why? Well, South Africa is a very stable place. There are Africans, there are 54 nations. There's a lot of them you never meet in the West. Why? Because they're making life happen in their countries. I never met any Kenyans in America. I went to Kenya and Kenyans are living well there. A lot of Kenyans are living well there. How many African nations have you met people from? Most of you guys are going to say, well, I know some Ghanaians. I know some Nigerians. I know some Senegalese. I know maybe somebody from the Congo, and you might say, but you might know a lot of people, like, for instance, from, what's it called? Somalia. Why are there so many Somalians in the West? Because of the war happening in their country. So you got to understand the political instability has a lot to do with what goes on. But like I said, we can't be refugees forever. Okay? It's time to bring it full circle. I personally am sick of the narrative of I don't know where I come from. If you guys are sick of that narrative, let me see a number 2, please, in the chat room. And I'm going to wrap up soon for real because I need to go to the gym. Seriously. Y'all, I'm actually late. I'm actually so late. Okay? If you're sick of that narrative, I don't know where I come from. Let me see a number 2. You're sick of you're sick of living in America but not being seen as American. Huh? You're sick of that double standard. You're sick of living in England and not being seen as a British. Okay? But you're born and raised there and you have the passport and you have the accent and everything, but they don't see you as indigenous. Okay? This is part of one of the deepest reasons why I wanted to come and return to the continent, because I'll be damned if somebody tells a child born and raised in Kenya that that's not a Kenyan child. Or someone tells a child born and raised in Ghana, You don't belong here. You're not really Ghanaian. That BS that a lot of us had to go through. The paradox of being a migrant child where your parents are foreign, okay? You're technically American, you're technically British, but there's no subset for you. There's no category for you. People in your nation are saying, "Oh, well, what's your origins? Where do you come from?" And you're like, "Hey, I come from Brixton. I come from Northampton. I come from Columbus, Ohio. I come from Atlanta, Georgia." And people are looking at you like a laughing stock because you are like the human raised by elephants. You don't even realize that you don't belong there. So I decided with my life, I'm going to change the dynamic. Any child that I have is not going to be told they're not from Africa. You know, those are my goals. Unfortunately, African migrants are going to find out the hard way, unless, like I said, they don't have to. They can hear what's going on with the diaspora. They can pay attention. They can change course. Okay? Just because your family did something doesn't mean you have to follow. Okay? Just because society tells you a certain way doesn't mean you got to follow. If you're smart enough to know it's not going to work out, then just change course. This is a good point. Kamisha Ross says, if we can march for rights in a land that will never respect us as humans, then let's march, protest, and fight for the stability of our countries. Exactly. Let's pour our efforts and energy and emotion into our homeland. Now, I gave y'all the example of me occupying Deja's house and just telling Deja, hey, look, I'm not leaving. Okay? I can also change course and say, you know what? Deja doesn't want me in her house. I don't want to be there. I have my own house that I need to look after. I have my own apartment that I need to look after. Let me go put my effort in there. And guess what? Deja comes and knocks on my door and says, wow, Gina, I really like what you did with the place. You landscaped it. Can you show me what to do? I really like that paint. You added a deck. You know what I'm saying? What's up? I see that pool in the back. And now I'm in control. I'm controlling my house. My house is a lovely place to inhabit. I love it. Now other people are trying to come in. I can pick and choose and decide if I want to let Deja in. Now, because me and Deja go way back, I'm going to say, yeah, it's cool. You let me be in your house. You know what I'm saying? You can come over my house. But only if they are under the Black umbrella. I don't just let everybody up in my house. I'm going to be honest. I don't let everybody in my house. I don't let everybody in my house. Souls of Our Ancestors says, what many migrants fail to realize is America is just as unstable. The only difference until lately is they were good at hiding it. You see, that whole system got our migrant people fooled. You see, because here you got to hustle. You know, you got to create business. You got to generate income. The government is not going to look after you or take care of you. Okay. Because of all those social systems in the West, which are really balls and chains, and anchor you in to that system. People see those as benefits. And sometimes they are, but a lot of times they're being abused, and a lot of times they're becoming crutches. As we can see from the people, that are now generationally in those systems. And so they see that system, that it works. That it looks after its citizens, that it takes care of its citizens. And they don't also, identify the racial construct. So they think, oh, hey, I'm a British. I get access to everything that all the British get. And that's not always true. Because if you're a Black British, you might not get access to what the white British get. If you're a Black American, you may not get access to what the white American. That's very real. That's very real. Big shout outs to the family. Deja says, I'm from a big city. Know people from all over Africa, but they are trapped here on the hamster. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's exactly what, like I said, the diasporians know. We know that it's an endless cycle. You know, you cannot get to the position where you're chill. You can't get to the position where you're established. It's just not going to happen. You're going to be in that cyclical, system for the rest of your life. That's how the West works. S.A. Smith says, which is why we are still told to go back to Africa if we complain. Exactly. That is why I don't understand why some African Americans say they are not leaving, because they built the place for who? Good point. Good point. Good point. Absolutely. And I don't believe in that. I gave the example of just kind of posting up in Deja's, but I don't believe in occupying places that don't belong to me. People always have the advantage of kicking you out and mistreating you when you are in places that you don't belong. And unfortunately, the historical connotation of our people in the West has always been tumultuous. And it will always be. We're perpetually going to be living struggle life. And if you guys know anything about me, okay, if you guys know anything about me, you know that I don't do struggle life. I don't do struggle life. I just don't do struggle life. Okay. I do luxury. I do chilling. I do relaxing. I do pleasure. Okay. I can work hard for the meantime, but I'm not working hard my whole life. Okay. You see these hands, they soft. You see this body, you know what I'm saying? The only place I work hard since I'm moving to Ghana is in the gym. Okay. That's it. See, I'm not like some of these people that feel like they just got to always be working. To me, that's slave mentality. Okay, especially when you see other people not working and living a comfortable life. That's where I want to live. That's how I want to be. I mean, for real. So, all right, family. I'm serious. I need to go to the gym. Lady Visionary says, stop playing, start planning your move to the continent, full stop, period. That's it. You are wasting your time. You are endangering your future generations. I have to just appeal to the African migrants that are part of my platform. Please stop wasting your time. Okay. We that have been out there already, a couple generations, several generations, whatever, we are telling you what time it is. You can look around and see the chaos in your environment. Okay. You can see the depictions of Black people, all that homosexual and all that stuff that goes on in the West. That can be your sons and grandsons and nephews and stuff. They want your sons to be gay. That way they can't procreate. That way it will reduce population control. Okay. If you haven't figured out why are they promoting all this transgendering and all this, it's population control. Why is the Black man the face for this movement? Because that's who they want to eliminate themselves. Why is the Black man always paired up with the white female? Because they want to dilute our people. They want to reduce the Black people's population. And you guys are helping them do it by being stupid. Sorry. I just have to say it. I just have to say it, because if you think about it, that's exactly what it is. It is just stupid. Okay? It is just stupid. They're not your friends. They have never been your friends. And everything they're giving you is not even in your best interest, and you still trust it. And it's not even working for you. You don't even have a great life. You're not happy. Your social life is not good. Your love life is not good. Your health is not good, but you still hanging on. So this message, I just had to do it. That's it. Blackavelli, pay the price today so you can pay any price tomorrow. Don't be stupid. Take account of what's going on around you. Because I'm telling you guys, who was that last one that just got killed? Let me think about it. I can't think of the last person that just got killed by the cops. It wasn't too long ago. Anyway, the last victim of police brutality, okay, was fully aware of all the previous victims of police brutality. Okay. And for one reason or another, they didn't make any moves. Okay. Just like what Lady Visionary is saying. You know, they just, for one reason or another, or maybe even they had preparation. One day they said, you know, one day I'm going to get out the States. I need to move out of here. I want to go to Africa. I want to visit. For one reason or another, they never completed it. And now they never will. Okay. The danger that is surrounding you, it is confronting you. It can consume you. It can affect you. Let me tell you. And if you value your life and your future lineage, then you need to be ready to protect that. If you find an option for opportunity, then take it. You know, that's all I can tell you. Learn from your predecessors. Okay, I was a good child. You know, I had a video with my mom where, you know, my mom said that, you know, Gina's been a good girl. She's always been a good child, because I learned from other people. I didn't have to get unnecessary whoopings and stuff like that, because I said, oh yeah, if I had a good friend named Candace, and Candace was always getting in trouble. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not going to do that, because I know what's going to happen. You know, my mom and Candace's mom are similar. So yeah, if she does this, that, gets spanked, gets on punishment, then that could be my future. Take account of what's happening around you. Okay, take account of what's happening to other young, you know, children. Okay, Black males, they are the focus of all these campaigns. They are the focus of these campaigns. They want to eliminate our males, and it will trickle down to our community. Absolutely. That's why you come here to the continent and men are all over the place, because those same campaigns have not yet been heavily in effect here on the continent to eliminate our males, but they have done their job well in the West. You know, their mode of action is to impart all those same things on the continent to impact our global Black population. Wake up. So guys, if you have any blind people on your social media, share this video with them. Okay, so we can try to, you know, impart some knowledge. Okay, all right, guys. Well, thank you for rocking in this midday live stream. What's up, Evergreen? I see you in there. Big shout outs to my super chat donors. Yes, that's correct. We are monetized. So big shout outs to Z1 and Blockavelli for kicking it off. They are our first 2 super chats of this platform. So much love to them. To any of you others that want to also contribute, feel free. The information is scrolling across the bottom. Also, special shout outs to Sharon Rogers with her very generous Cash App donation the other day. Big shout outs to Lady Visionary for sharing our swim collection. Please head over to theafricansuperstar.com. Let me briefly show you our new swim collection if you somehow have not seen it. Yes, so that is our new swim collection, which Lady Visionary shared on her channel. Big shout outs to you. We also do have tank tops and shorts for the fellas, and we have beach towels too and flip flops. So come and get your summertime essentials with the AfricanSuperstar.com. The website is scrolling across the bottom. Until we meet again, stay Black and true. If you ain't Black, just stay true.